What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Building Code. I'm Charles Birtwistle.
I'm Courtney Matern.
What do you think of that?
Are you going by Charles?
Yeah,
now,
2025, new year, new me. This is going to be the year of Charles, I think.
Charles, that's going to stick. We're going to have to make, new stickers with
absolutely
names on them and everything.
I've been waiting like 3 weeks to make that joke on the podcast recording here. I'm like, I can't wait till we get back. I'm going to introduce myself as Charles.
Man, you couldn't wait to get past Christmas and New Year's and all the fun just to come back and
to the podcast.
Yeah.
With that being said, Courtney and I are back in the podcast studio for the first time in probably 3 weeks.
Yeah, it feels weird.
It does feel weird, but it also feels like home. It feels like we're back where we belong.
It smells like cookies, not really.
How was your break, Courtney?
My break was great. I took a trip to San Diego, spent time with family, got some sunshine, made a mood board.
Love that.
Really sort of out of character for me, but
really? Because I feel like that's pretty on brand for you.
You would think so, but yeah, it was my first time making a collage.
Love that. Well, the good news is we both had fantastic breaks. We are back ready to podcast our A off. And we are not wasting any time with fantastic guests. Who do we have today, Courtney?
Today we have Tammie Ross. She is the Chief Executive Officer and General Contractor of Residence by Ross. She owns her business down in Memphis, Tennessee, doing home building. But she also is releasing a book this month, well, in February, on my birthday, actually.
Wow. Did you guys plan that?
Yeah, we did. It was a birthday gift to me. Just a happy coincidence, but it's called Breaking Ground, Breaking the Glass Ceiling, and she shares about her journey of overcoming barriers to joining the male-dominated industry of construction, not just as a woman, but also as a Black woman. And those experiences are, underrepresented, and those stories aren't told enough. And we're happy to have Tammie on and kind of highlight her book before it comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, without further ado, let's get Tammie in here. Hey, Tammie, welcome to The Building Code. Really appreciate you making the time to join us today. We are super excited to have you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me as your guest.
Oh, absolutely. Courtney and I were very much looking forward to this interview. We were talking about you and your book and everything in between before this. But for those people that do not know you, we always like to just kick off these interviews with tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of your background, where you came from, and how you got to where you're at today.
Awesome. Well, hi, everyone. I am the CEO and General Contractor of Residence by Ross. So my journey into the construction industry, to be honest with you guys, was quite unconventional. I spent over 20 years in the financial sector, specializing in automotive financing. But my passion for real estate and helping others achieve their dream homes, it led me into this field. So here I am. I became a licensed general contractor and entered into this male-dominated industry, hoping to help others along the way.
Yeah, we brought you on in the new year to talk a little bit about your book, Breaking Ground, Breaking the Glass Ceiling, and it's a guide for women navigating industries where they're underrepresented. I was just looking up some statistics about the construction industry specifically and found out only 11% of the workforce in construction is women. With that in mind, you've managed to break through a lot of barriers and build your successful company. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced in your career, and how'd you manage to navigate that?
That's a great question. So I was motivated to write Breaking Ground, Breaking Glass Ceilings because of my own experience as a minority woman in the construction industry. And as you mentioned, it is 11% of women in the industry, but it even gets smaller when it comes to Black individuals. It's only 6.7%. So the challenges and obstacles I faced have been quite significant. Just not just because of that, but not just because of that intersectionality, but for several other reasons. But through perseverance and resilience, I've also experienced incredible growth and success. So entering into this career really enriched my life. But I was thinking about, when I was a girl, when I was starting to write this book, I had never seen a Black builder, nor had I ever seen a female builder. And I didn't see that until I was in my 30s when I was trying to build my first home. So these experiences really highlighted the need for more representation and inspired me to be a role model for others.
Can you share a little bit about your first experience seeing a woman in the industry and what that meant to you?
It was just transformative. I really was, when I saw her, I was just enamored. Her work was stellar, and it was just, she was so creative. She thought of things that was out of the box. So that was very inspirational to me. And it also helped me to have a mind shift in that moment and seeing her, a growth mindset, like I could do this myself. So it just really encouraged me to kind of pursue this path on my own.
I love that. I'd love to know just a little bit more about your journey because you mentioned you're in, the finance sector, and then you wanted to get into home building, your love of real estate, but now you're doing corporate speaking and consulting and an author of a book. How did you you make that first major career move, and then just kind of continued? You mentioned the growth mindset. You seem like someone that always like to keep yourself busy. What were those kind of stepping stones like, and how do you just continue to evolve as a person, as a leader, and as an entrepreneur?
That's a great question. I think that not only with the growth mindset, but also having emotional intelligence, thinking about my community, not just for myself, being community centric in all of the things that I do. Also, navigating imposter syndrome was a big part of that, knowing and believing that I could. I have to be a great just to have a seat at the table. So, fostering that sense of confidence. And then, as I go through the evolutionary process, prioritizing my mental and physical health, it was very important to me. And wanting to make sure that when I came to whatever space I was entering into, that had a great foundation, including, making sure that I had the educational credentials and things along those lines to foster the confidence to move and make changes throughout my career, and also throughout my life.
What were some of the early successes you had with Residence by Ross?
So it has been so nice. One of the things that, as you mentioned before, I like to go out and speak and be there with children and girls. And one of the things that was so interesting to me, I went to an elementary school, and it was in an inner city, Memphis to be very specific. And this little girl looked at me and was like, "How is it that you're building houses with long red nails?" And I was like, "Oh, it was so funny to me that she said that, and that can I build houses too?" And just the sense of awe that came about with her knowing that not only was I a general contractor, but I owned the company and that we were building houses. And she pulled me to the side and said, "Can you help my parents get a house and build it for me? Can you build us a room?" And I was just so taken aback by that little girl. It just really inspired me to want to continue down this process, because those small wins like that, quite naturally, building houses, scaling our business are great wins for us as a company. But those small wins and seeing the light and inspiring others was very, very rewarding for me.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that in that moment is like anytime that you like set your mind to something and like set a goal, but actually to see it come to fruition front and center directly to you had to be a pretty awe-inspiring moment for sure. And you'd mentioned previously that you had some of those moments yourself with other leaders that you look up to and women in the space. I'm curious, were there some specific role models that you had that kind of continued to shape your journey as well?
Yes. My mother, she taught me a lot about resilience and hard work and how it pays off, and to be your authentic self in whatever space that you're in. So that early learnings was something very important to me. I also really admire Oprah Winfrey. Her leadership and vision just transformed her industry. She too was in a male dominated industry. And so seeing that authentic leadership style, having empathy, unwavering determination, all of those things have been great examples for me.
I think the topic of, whether it's breaking the glass ceiling or having more women represented in a different field, like a lot of people might say, well, the job is just hard. Construction is just hard. But can you explain the importance for you and in writing your book of, kind of documenting these unique experiences of being a woman in the field to say, no, this is different. This isn't just a part of the job. This is part of our lived experience.
Exactly. I think that it's very important to find a sense of purpose and go unrelentlessly fearlessly for those dreams and to be determined to succeed in whatever space you determine to be in. And I think that just by having your own blueprint for success and setting strategies that helps you to be successful and not giving up. Because if you just get started, even if the situation is not perfect, just get going. Because if you do the actions, you put in the work, it's going to yield positive results.
Yeah, I like to say you got to make it exist first before you can make it perfect. And like you said, you hadn't seen another woman in the industry till you were in your 30s. And so you just needed that role model to exist.
Yes.
Well,
exactly.
Courtney, you had a pretty cool stat too. Courtney was very excited about our stats before this interview here, so I want to make sure she gets the chance to share them all about the number of like mentors that people have in the space. And obviously, when you're trying to do something for the first time and break these glass ceilings, having a mentor and mentoring other people can help guide that path and lead that path. And it's something that you talk, I was looking at your website before this, you talk a lot about mentorship on there. So Courtney, what was your stat before I asked my question?
It was from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I even got real sources.
Yeah.
Did a lot of research.
See what I mean? She's very excited about these stats.
40% of women in the construction industry report having mentorship opportunities, which means 60% don't have a mentor. And I know as a woman in tech, I always say like you kind of need an example or a mentor to model your behavior after, because sometimes it doesn't, the way I would behave would be different than a man would behave in certain situations. So yeah, tell us about your mentorships that you've had or how you kind of pay it forward.
Yeah, so mentorship has really played a crucial role in my success. It's helped to guide me, support me, and provide invaluable insights. And my mentors have really helped me navigate challenges and make informed decisions and grow as a leader. And I will say that I try to find mentors from anywhere that I can. So if it's someone that's doing well in my region or is doing well across the nation, be it female or male, I like to reach out to them and help them, ask them to help me to become a success. And if they would mind looking at my process, poke holes through it, tell me some things that would be advantageous for me to follow. And in turn, I've committed myself to mentoring others, particularly women in the industry, since there is such a lack of it. So I provide mentorship through one-on-one coaching, networking opportunities. I've been invited to come to, meetings at different corporations and share my experiences and knowledge, because my goal is to empower other women to really achieve their full potential and succeed in their careers.
I love that. I feel like that's something that more and more and more, Courtney and I have hosted this podcast for a couple of years now, like we're hearing that more frequently in our interviews of the importance of community and the importance of just reaching out to people that you admire, even if it's something as simple as an Instagram, DM of like, hey, I saw you doing this, and like fostering that connectivity. I think that's something that honestly construction was lagging in a long time, and now I kind of see leading the charge with a lot of the different networking groups and like coalitions and conferences that are popping up, and people like you leading from the front of always being available as a resource as well too. It's something that's been really, really cool to see.
How would you advise someone to reach out to a mentor? Do you stalk them on LinkedIn? Do you find them on Instagram? As someone who's more of an extroverted introvert, I always find it sort of awkward to just be like, hey, I think you're awesome. But is that the approach to take?
I think so. That's a very authentic approach, Courtney. I think that you're awesome. I'd love to glean from your experiences. Would you be willing to mentor me? Just as simple as that. And I think that a person would be very willing to do that. It's hard to tell someone, no, I'm not going to help you. I just can't see doing that. And as Charley mentioned, our community in the construction industry, it's becoming more open. It's becoming more receptive to individuals that's coming into it. So I just think that we just have to get ourselves out there. And it's a very humble approach. And, humility always wins when spaces like that.
Yeah, thank goodness for online communities, because it makes it pretty easy to, show up in someone's DMs or their LinkedIn messages. But like Charley just mentioned, there's a lot of meetings in person. I know we sponsor the Professional Women and Builders Council with the NAHB, and they do these monthly shop talks for women in the industry where you can hop on a webinar, and they're more of a conversation than a presentation. And I know women are kind of meeting each other that way, because I think when you only have, 11% women in the construction workforce, like that's not that many. And the other stat, because I'm so proud of all my stats, was
Here we go.
only 2.5% of construction firms are women owned. So not only is the pool small for women in the industry, but women running a business and running construction business is even more rare. Your book tackles some of the obstacles that women face in these like male dominated industries. What do you think is the most pressing obstacle or tallest hurdle in 2025?
That's a very good question. I oftentimes think that the biggest obstacle is what we think of ourselves. Earlier I mentioned about the imposter syndrome. The first thing is knowing and believing in yourself and in your abilities. And if you lack in a certain skill set, there's so much available if you're willing to educate yourself and upskill. So I think that the biggest obstacle is what we tell ourselves in our minds. And once we get past that, I really believe that we can do anything that comes our way in 2025 and the years to come.
I love that answer. I'm a pretty big believer of everyone has imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
The people that you look up to and the people they look up to, they have imposter syndrome too. And I've always, correct me if you guys disagree, but I've always viewed it as kind of a good thing, because that means that you are pushing yourself into an area that you're uncomfortable in and can grow into. And, I've always been a proponent of, if you don't have imposter syndrome, then that means you're selling yourself short and you're stuck in a field or a career or a position inside that field that you're potentially overqualified for. Like, I don't know, it'd be better to be underqualified and shoot for that next step and bet on yourself than to get stagnant.
Well, I love that sentiment too, because you're accountable then. If the biggest hurdle and the biggest obstacle is yourself and your mindset, look at that. That's something you can control. So that's kind of the silver lining of that being the biggest obstacle. How do you overcome imposter syndrome?
I continuously upskill. And I don't ever think that I know it all. I feel as if there's something that can be learned. And I always follow these great builders, and also the ones that's brand new. A person that's brand new in the industry, they're new, they're looking at things through a different lens. They're okay to get out there and make mistakes. And so I just feel as if you can learn so much from anyone. And that's one of the things that I've been taught as since I was a child, to look for mentors in the janitor that's cleaning the building. There's so much that can be learned from individuals. So I don't ever want to be stagnant. I think that once you become ripe, you're done. So I want to remain green and continue to grow.
Wow, I love that analogy.
Yeah.
But maybe t-shirt idea in 2025.
Yeah,
Once you
we
become
need to
ripe, you're done.
Yes, okay.
Stay green.
Cool. Yeah. We need to get t-shirts made.
Yeah, I love it. And I was just going through your website as you were talking there, because you have a ton of opportunities out there for people that are looking to upskill and take that next step and learn from other people. Could you speak to some of the things that you specifically are doing if people are interested?
Yeah, so the National Association of Home Builders, in fact, they're the ones that's publishing my book. They have so many things out there for individuals to learn, be a part of those classes. The International Builders Show, I'm so excited about that. They've released all of the classes that they're going to have and the keynote speakers. And I just can't wait to learn and glean from those individuals. But throughout the year, the National Association also works with individual home builders associations that always offer skills and classes. So I think it's important to take advantage of those resources that are underutilized.
Absolutely. And you're going to be at the Builder Show this year?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Woohoo. We'll both be there. So we hope you'll stop by the Buildertrend booth and hang out.
I definitely will. Thank you.
Yeah, it's rare they let me get to go to that. They teased me a couple years ago, then they held me back the last couple of years, but I will be back in Vegas this year. I know, exactly, Tammie. Oh no, is the exact response.
It's a running joke that we don't let Charley out of the building.
How can you not? And he's interviewing all of these builders.
I know.
Exactly. You're making my point for me, Tammie.
Now he gets to hit the road. Well, while you're at the Builder Show, do you have any tips for people as they prepare? This will air in a couple weeks, so you'll have a month and a half to prepare for going to Vegas. advice if somebody sets out, especially, you know, a woman in the industry, or maybe a woman who wants to run her own business, and she, you know, has top 3 things she's got to do at the International Builder Show, what would they be on your list?
Wow, great question. I would first go to the Professional Women in Buildings booth and sign up there. That's where the national part of the national chapter will be there. And just get out there, introduce yourself to other associations, members of the other associations, and seeing how you can glean from there. And then I would also attend a lot of the classes. I know that I'll be speaking at a couple of those classes, so I would love for your viewers to come to some of mine. You can find it on the schedule. And then just have fun. Go out there and go around the booths, exchange business cards, bring a lot of those, and get to know individuals and new vendors. So I think it's going to be a great experience. Just be open to it.
I am pro like physical business cards as well,
Me too.
because especially when you go to a show like that, that's like they serve as little sticky notes to like call this person. Here's a to-do list when I get back. I always like stick them in my pocket, and then I send off all my emails afterward. I love going to the International Builder Show because it's like being in tech. It's like the one time of the year we get to see our customers in person. And sometimes when we get to meet people like you or some of our customers, it's like we're meeting celebrities for the first time.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, when we
I'm
meet in person,
starstruck
it's like-
constantly out there.
yeah.
Well, before we wrap up here, obviously new book coming out, not released yet though. Is that correct?
It's going to be released on February the 3rd. It's available now on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and other bookstores, and it's going to be released at the International Builder Show. So
Ooh,
be
there we
sure to
go.
stop by. There'll be raffles and everything. So I'm excited to see you there.
Love that. We will make sure to link the link for the book in the show notes here. And again, if people are coming out to the International Builder Show, you will be there. Get a little autograph, book signing, or something like that, right?
Absolutely.
Love that.
Sure.
I think that's it. You got anything, Courtney?
Nope. I think that I've got everything. I think a good place to end would just be, you know, do you have like a mantra going into the new year? Because I want to stick to it's January. Is it new year, new you? Do you have a big goal for the new year? Yeah. What do you got your sights set on?
I would say 2 things. Step into your power and be unstoppable.
Love that. Heck yeah. That's such great motivate. Like Courtney and I have to go back to our normal jobs after this.
Yes.
So thanks for firing me up as we go back to our desk and change the way the world builds here. Tammie,
There you go.
thank you so much for your time today. It was awesome to meet you and awesome to talk to you. Inspiring. I will definitely be ordering the book, and I will see you at the International Builder Show.
Yay. Thank you all so much and have a great day. I enjoyed being with you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tammie.
Thank you, Tammie. Well, Courtney, we just heard from Tammie Ross. What'd you think?
I thought that she gave a lot of really good advice that I specifically needed to hear. But I can imagine a lot of business owners heading into the new year, especially women who might be setting out to start their own business, needed to hear, which is just go out, get started, find a mentor, ask nicely, and go. Do it. Do the thing.
Yeah. The point that she made about like the imposter syndrome and just taking the next step really resonated with me. And I love that where her mindset is at and her attitude is at of exactly what you just said is like, it is hard. It's going to be really hard, especially if you're a minority woman in a male dominated field. But regardless of what you're doing, it's the whole point is hard. And nothing great ever comes without it being really, really hard. So I thought it was motivational. I am super excited to see her in Vegas at IBS.
Yes.
And pick her brain a bit more, but awesome guest. And hopefully our listeners learned a lot.
Yeah, I feel like this is a great episode leading into the International Builder Show. It's happening at the end of February in Las Vegas. She mentioned the Professional Women Builders Council, which is part of the NAHB Buildertrend. We're a proud sponsor of the group, and I'll actually be doing a roundtable with them while we're there about
Awesome.
women and entrepreneurship with some different builders, Danielle Cutelli, Ashley Kuhn from Blair Freeman here in Omaha, and Gloria from Glowjoy Construction out in New York. And it just kind of ties right into what Tammie was saying, where, this industry has a huge labor shortage, and we need to pull from all corners of our population to find skills and talent. So I love that that group is going to be there in Vegas. It's a great networking opportunity specifically for women. And then there's all the fun of Las Vegas and the rest of the Builder Show.
Of course.
You know, like live podcast recordings that we'll be doing. So I'll make sure that Chelsea gets that in the show notes. There's a lot going on, and it's, you know, we're 5-6 weeks out, and I know people are going to be planning. So watch for that link so that you can make your plan for Las Vegas.
Absolutely.
You plan to see Charles and get his autograph.
No. But yeah, a ton of good stuff going on at IBS. And yeah, failing to plan is planning to fail, right? So
Yeah.
detail it out. Go see Tammie. Go see Courtney. Go see everybody.
Go see all of us.
Otherwise, until next time, we'll see you on YouTube if you're watching.
Yeah, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram.
Yeah.
We're everywhere now, folks.
2025 is the year of, what is it? Social media for us?
Yes, and rate, review, and subscribe, please.
Love it. Okay, I think that's it for us. I'm Charles Birtwistle.
And I'm Courtney.
I'm just kidding. I'm sticking with Charlie. Next time. Peace. Thanks for watching the video. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for exclusive content brought to you by Buildertrend.